How does the historic rise of a democratic socialist Muslim mayor in America's financial capital redefine the national progressive blueprint for future elections?
Well, good evening, Ryan. It's always good to see you. Look, I don't think we have an answer yet. This is a new uncharted territory for both the Democratic Party and for the city of New York. We have seen people like Mandami before. We have seen the messaging of it's too expensive to live in New York. It is too expensive to run a small business in New York. We can go
He was
back to
the others were 34
no,
years old.
well, hold on that. I mean, we've seen similar messaging from people like David Dinkins and Bill de Blasio. What we haven't seen is an overtly self-admitted democratic socialist that is literally coming out and saying, look, we are going to give free bus rides. We are going to do all of this. The fear is that he could go so far to the left that it's going to drive the financial industry like they kind of did during COVID down to other states like Texas and Florida. If that starts happening, I think it's going to have a reverse effect. Affordability won't matter if there's no core infrastructure or there's no tax base to pay for the initiatives that Mandami wants.
I'll be back again to you and ask you about the response of Donald Trump, of course, and his comments. But Mr. Jeffy, a very warm welcome to the program, and it's a pleasure to have you with me today. Can Mamdani's model export a new progressive wave across the United States, or will the tension with the federal administration weaken his ability to implement his agenda focusing on housing, the cost of living, and community safety, plus, of course, the reopening or government shutdown of the government, and your narrative and your take on Mr. Ruffle, please, and what he said.
Merhaba, Rana, good to be with you, and to Russell, and to have this discussion on these important issues for your audience. I think that we want to look at a few things. One is Mamdani's election is a shot in the arm for folks who are more progressive, who are more left, who are more populist, who are concerned about the cost of living, people who are younger, people who are Muslim, people who are gay and lesbian, people who are Black and Latino, who are not in the leadership of the power structure in government and in business today. Because he ran with the support of public financing, which has been in existence in New York City for several years now. And that gives an opportunity for those who do not have access to a lot of money because they refuse to take donations from wealthy donors. It gives them an opportunity to get their messaging out. And we also have ranked choice voting in New York City, which is very significant.
And also the issue of the migrants, sir, which is very important for Mamdani.
100%. I think it's 1 million Muslims in New York City, and by no means are they. How do I know whether they have been here for 2 years or for 52 years for each person? We don't know. But the Muslim population in New York City has not been empowered in the leadership structure of government before, and that was an important
message. But
message.
honestly, he was not discussing and tackling Muslims specifically. He was discussing migrants in general.
No, absolutely, no doubt. That was part of his speech when Mamdani spoke on election night. He spoke of never again will there be a victory for someone running for office in New York City who traffics in Islamophobia. So as I listened to the words that he said, he focused on immigrants, and he focused on the Muslim community. He focused on the Jewish community, where he said that we will not tolerate the scourge of anti-Semitism. In some ways, it was a unifying speech, and he does have a bold agenda. He will be having the opportunity to have success for a progressive agenda. I hope he does. I think he is an incredible talent in his communication. He did make one significant mistake Tuesday night in his speech. He spoke of the Latina, he spoke of the Black woman, he spoke of gays and lesbians, and he spoke of people who are outside of power, people who have not been in power. And all of that is a positive. The one thing he did not do was include people who have been in power, at least demographically, and who are concerned that he will not represent them. I don't agree with them. I think the fear is overblown.
But he did discuss people that are billionaires, that are in power, and with him, against him, actually, which leveraged him, was not really important for him, but he discussed the taxes that are taken from the average citizens in the United States, and the taxes that are paid by the billionaires, like U.S. President Donald Trump. He did say this in his speech. And by the way, I read yesterday that this caliber is a very different caliber, even when he comes to discuss, and his speeches are very different. And I was mentioning that his speeches are different in every way, even in his vocabulary.
Oh, yes.
Raina,
go ahead, Mr. Russell, if you want to say something.
Raina, let me jump in real quick because
sir.
You know,
Always a pleasure for you to jump in.
I appreciate that. Look, the thing you got to realize here is you know, while Mondami's victory on Tuesday was a huge step for the Muslim American community.
Was a huge I beg your pardon, was a huge?
It was a huge step for the Muslim American community here in the United States. No question. It was a huge step for young Democrats to get politically active. He is the poster child for that. The thing that we have to be careful about with Mondami is the same thing that we saw with, you know, the lead-in brought up Sadiq Khan in London, is the same problem that Sadiq Khan ran into early on in his agenda as Lord Mayor of London, is the fact that, you know, New York is a unique city. When you see somebody from New York, whether they are black, white, Asian, Muslim, Jewish, they all say one thing: oh, I'm a New Yorker. And that's the message he had the opportunity in his victory speech to convey, and he didn't. That is the biggest threat to Mondami's legacy from day one, is he cannot identify everybody. He has to represent out of City Hall and out of Gracie Mansion New Yorkers as a New Yorker first, then get into the identity. If he does not do that, he threatens to bring economic troubles like we saw back in the late 70s, early 80s under David Dinkins. He is going to bring political troubles like we saw under Bill de Blasio. This is something that he has an opportunity early on to make a significant impact on, that doesn't hit economically, that doesn't hit politically, and just unifies New York instead of making it identity politics.
Mr. Jeffrey, your take on Mr. Russell's, of course, what he said, and how do you read what he said?
Well, right. I think that there was a missed opportunity for Mr. Mondani on Tuesday night. For me personally, I loved his speech. I was clapping during it. But the mistake that he made was not appealing to those who did not support him in his election. I want to see him expand his coalition of support. I want to see him expand the coalition of people who will support his agenda for the future. I want to make sure that what's best is that he be inclusive not only of people who have been left out of power, but for people who have been represented in government before, but who fear that he will not represent them. I don't have that fear, but he, I think, has an opportunity to convince people that he will be the mayor for everyone. And so for folks who are
He did
right,
convince everybody that he is the mayor of everyone.
well, I don't think so. There has been a lot of criticism that he spoke only to those who have been supporting his agenda, and I am one of those folks. But he did not speak to the constituents who supported Andrew Cuomo, for example. He won 50.4% of the vote, and I am thrilled that he got more than 50%. But he got only a little bit more than 50%. 49.6% of New Yorkers who voted did not vote for Mayor Mamdani. And so he has an opportunity and I think a need politically.
Mr. Jeffy, I think there were four. If you divide the four, then you're gonna find that Mamdani did a great job.
For me personally, I thought his speech was fantastic.